You know, I realize I'm just a 48-year-old boxing fan that it's just a guy with an opinion. Obviously, I'm not a manager, I'm not a promoter, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a trainer. But I've seen a lot in my close to 40 years of watching this sport. And, I've formulated opinion based off of things that I've seen, things that I've heard. And in the sport of boxing, we've seen so many things happen. It's the theater of the unexpected, where upsets happen more often, in my opinion, than any other sport in the world. We've seen Joe Louis lose to Max Schmeling. We've seen Sugar Ray Robinson lose to Randy Turpin. We've seen Mike Tyson lose to Buster Douglas. Vladimir Klitschko lose to Oliver McCall. So in the heavyweight division, more so than any other division, there's more of a chance for an upset to occur because one punch can and one punch has changed the fight in so many historic fights in the history of boxing. Muhammad Ali lost to Leon Spinks. So upsets happen a lot in this division. And this fight with Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, this proposed fight between these two champions, it's a 50-50 fight. It's a dangerous fight for both men. It's the most dangerous fight out there for both men. So whether or not this fight is in the UK or in the United States, I don't think it changes much in terms of how the fight plays out. The fight's going to end in a knockout. Okay, the chances of this fight going the distance are very, very slim. So Anthony Joshua's claim about worrying about referees and judges, okay, I understand that, but do you really think you're going to need judges at the end of this fight? Any of you guys out there, do you think that really is an area of concern? You got two huge, dangerous punchers. Both have, one guy has a 98% knockout ratio, another guy has a 95% knockout ratio. The chances of this fight going the distance are very slim. So it's a dangerous fight regardless of where it is. And the chances of it ending in a knockout are great regardless of where it is. So let's just talk about, why fighting in the United States makes more sense. Because as we know in the sport of boxing, these guys don't have a pension plan. They don't get insurance. Okay. So everything that they have is from the money they make in the sport. Nothing is given to them. They have to earn it through fighting. And unlike most of us who are in a job and have a career that can span 30, 40, 50 years of our lives, boxers don't have that same luxury. It's a career that comes and goes very fast. Some boxers are in and out of this game in less than 10 years because of the damage they've taken. And like I said, no one's going to take care of them when their career is over. So of course, you want to make the most money possible that you can make because the window is small. Okay? So by not, being concerned about the money, by saying the money is not important, that makes absolutely no sense because the money has to be a motivating factor in this because both of these men have, children. Both of these men have families that they care about and I'm sure they help take care of. So first and foremost, you want to talk about owing something to the UK fans. You owe something to yourself first and your family as well before you owe anyone else anything. So in a sport that is so unforgiving, okay, that, so many fighters have retired broke, retired sick, retired with their faculties not intact, then you obviously should be concerned about making the most money possible in the shortest amount of time, okay? And by saying that the money is not important, by saying that you don't need the money, okay, that's a short-sighted statement to make, okay? So you want to secure your future. You want to stop thinking about your future now. And I don't have to tell you this. Anyone else would tell you the same thing, okay? So to sit there and say that $10 million, $15 million, $20 million possibly that is going to be left on the table by fighting in the UK instead of fighting in the US, by saying that, that is just a very irrational statement that makes zero sense. And anybody who is in Joshua's close-knit circle, his team that is advising him to not fight this fight in the US, because at the bare minimum, this is at the bare minimum being conservative, he's leaving $10 million on the table, okay? They're giving you a $50 million offer, upfront, guaranteed, with money on the back end. So at the very least, you're going to make $60 million, okay? Your highest purse has been 18 million pounds. Okay, so do the conversion. Let's do the conversion on that real quick. It's not going to take me that long. So $25 million basically. So you're going to get more than double that at the bare minimum. You could possibly get close to 3 times that in one fight. So as I said, in a division where one punch changes everything, in a division where Oliver McCall knocked out Lennox Lewis, okay? In a division where Lamont Brewster knocked out Vladimir Klitschko, where Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson, you don't think it's possible that Luis Ortiz could knock out Anthony Joshua? You don't think it's possible that Dillian Whyte can't knock out Anthony Joshua? You don't think it's possible that Alexander Povetkin can't knock out Anthony Joshua? And if they do, you can rest assured that he'll be getting paid a lot less than in between $60, $70 million when that happens, or if it happens, I should say. So this is why it is ridiculous to leave in between $10 and $20 million on the table for a fight of this magnitude, because nothing is promised in this sport. You were seconds away from getting knocked out by Dillian Whyte. You were seconds away from getting knocked out by Vladimir Klitschko, okay? And if this fight, as I said several times, ends up being anywhere remotely close to as good as that Vladimir Klitschko fight was between Anthony Joshua and Vladimir, then the rematch would once again produce a humongous payday for both men. So it is irresponsible. It is irresponsible financially to turn down this deal. And again, I know the whole thing about unifying the title in the UK, but at the end of the day, the actual accomplishment means more than where the accomplishment took place. The actual opponent you did it against means more than where the accomplishment took place. No one's going to sit back and say, hey, it's not going to go in the record books that you were the only fighter to unify a title in the UK. No, it's going to say that you were the only heavyweight fighter to actually hold all 4 belts simultaneously, because no other heavyweight fighter has done that. No other heavyweight fighter. So you're in the record books regardless if you win this fight. Either man is in the record books regardless of who wins this fight. Actually, I should rephrase that. Either man can be in the record books by winning this fight because they will have 4 belts. And if you want to count the IBF, that's 5 belts. Whereas all the other heavyweight champions, the most belts that they've held were 3, I believe. Okay? So it just makes no sense to turn down this offer. So in a last-ditch effort, I think that I'm going to say this to Eddie Hearn. I'm going to say this to Team Joshua. You know, this fight is not any more dangerous in the United States than it is in the United Kingdom. The punches are going to hurt just as much. It's different than having the home court advantage in any other sport, because in this sport where one punch changes everything, and where it's you know, it's about, you know, being able to take what the other guy is giving, it's not going to make a difference. You can get knocked out by a punch, whether it be in the United States or whether it be in the UK. It's not going to matter where it is, because the fight is going to play out the way the fight is going to play out based on the 2 fighters and their styles. Okay? It's not like the WWE where people are going to jump in the ring and hit you with a chair. You know, it's the judges and the referee. I mean, again, all that stuff can be negotiated. It's not etched in stone that all of the judges have to be American. The referee has to be American. Those things can all be worked out. But in a sport where upsets happen so often, particularly in the heavyweight division, and in a sport, as I said, I hate to keep repeating this, but where one punch changes everything, you want to get the most you can get out of every fight. And by not fighting in the United States, I think you're doing yourself, and I think you're doing a disservice to all those other fighters in the world who can't make it to your level. They're fighting club shows, okay? They're fighting, you know, in high school gyms. They're fighting in small auditoriums, and they don't have the ability to get to your level, okay? And you're scoffing at $10 million, where these guys would die for $1 million. These guys would die for $200,000, $100,000, and you're scoffing at $10 million, $20 million like it's nothing. It's an insult to those fighters as well, in my opinion. So I think the right thing to do for yourself and for your family, and also for the sport, because this is such a great event. So why would you not want it to be the biggest it could be? Why do you want a potential $110, $120 million fight to only be a $60 million fight or a $70 million fight? This is a record fight. This is a historic record fight, as I said. So why not allow this to be the great event that it should be? Why not allow 500,000 United States people to purchase this on pay-per-view in prime time, instead of having it on at 6 o'clock, where, you know, maybe less people than that will watch it. So you have 500,000 pay-per-view buys. So you got to look at that. How many people are actually in the households? So millions upon millions of people are going to watch this fight, as opposed to maybe 500,000 or 600,000 United States-based viewers would watch it if it was in the UK. Because a lot of these people, like I told you, at 6 o'clock are not going to be tuning into boxing. They're going to be out doing things. They're going to be out with their families. They're going to be out working. They're going to be out doing errands or whatever. And then, you know, if you put this fight prime time on pay-per-view, a lot of the, you know, the bars will buy it. A lot of clubs will buy it. So the amount of eyeballs you can attract by putting this fight in the United States and having it on United States pay-per-view as well as UK pay-per-view, you're just missing, you're just dropping the ball. You're missing the boat if you don't take all those things in consideration. So 500,000 pay-per-view buys and that again is very conservative. What if it does 600,000, 700,000? and you look at the households, you look at the establishments that are buying the pay-per-views, and the amount of people that are in the households watching at once, the parties that people are going to throw. Okay, because we know you guys in the UK, you stayed up to watch Mayweather McGregor at 5 in the morning because that is your pay-per-view record. That's the highest amount of pay-per-views ever purchased in the UK is Mayweather and McGregor. So you guys stayed up to 5 in the morning to watch that, and you've stayed up to 5 in the morning to watch a lot of U.S. televised fights. I hate to tell you this, you guys, when it comes to dedication and support of your fighters, you're light years ahead of us, because none of us are going to stay up to 5 in the morning to watch. I probably will, but the casual fan in the United States won't do that. And the casual fan's not going to rush home after work, or they're not going to change their plans on a Saturday for a heavyweight fight, when they could just come home and they'll already be home 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, or they'll be at a bar, they'll be at a club, and the fight will be right in their face and they can't avoid it. These are things you have to think about. You want eyeballs. You want as many eyeballs on this as possible, because this fight is an advertisement for each fighter. It's an advertisement for the sport of boxing. It's a good look for the sport of boxing if you can put this on United States pay-per-view prime time. Okay? It's just a bigger fight if you put this fight in the United States, preferably in a Vegas arena. The amount of celebrities that would go to the fight in the United States, the amount of money that could be generated from a live gate with all of the celebrities, the athletes, the actors, all of them. The amount of money that we charge for ringside seats here, it'll be 3 to 4 times as much as those tickets in that UK stadium, where, with all due respect, 90,000 people jammed in an arena like that, looking down on a small 20-foot ring. How good is that viewing experience going to be? The majority of people are going to be buying the fight on pay-per-view anyways. Probably is going to do at least 1.5 million pay-per-views in the UK alone. Okay? And 90,000 maybe watching live. So the 1.5 can still buy that event on pay-per-view, and probably 5,000 to 7,000 would travel to the United States. So who's really losing here if the fight is in the United States? Who's really losing here? So think of it in terms of maximizing this event, the magnitude of this event. You want this to be the biggest event possible. You want this to be the biggest it can be. And it just doesn't make sense, to have this fight in the UK when it could generate bare minimum $50 million more in the United States if you do the math correctly. And that is conservative. That is bare bones conservative numbers. Again, 500,000 pay-per-view buys in the United States, okay, at $80 a pop, 40 million. Okay, add the 43 million on top of that from the UK pay-per-views, and instead of having a $12 million gate in the stadium, you're going to get a $25 million gate in the Vegas casino, and you're going to get a Vegas site fee on top of that. So bare minimum, there's $50 million in revenue that's going to be passed up if this fight is in the UK. And these are all conservative numbers. They're realistic numbers. The fight is substantially bigger in the United States. Okay, substantially bigger in the United States. So at the end of the day, you're going to be in the record books one way or the other, because you're going to be the only man, not just UK fighter. You're going to be the only heavyweight fighter to possess all 4 belts, and if you want to count the IBO, 5 belts. No one has ever done that. No heavyweight fighter has ever done that. Okay? Whether it be UK or United States or any nationality. Okay? From any country. No fighter has ever done that. That in itself is a huge accomplishment. So whether or not you do it in the UK or you do it in the United States, this would be the greatest introduction that you would have for United States viewers. This would be the fight that would open a lot of people's eyes. You can't fight somebody, with all due respect, like Baby Miller, Big Baby Miller in the United States and expect people to resonate towards that and be excited about that. If you fight in the United States against another great American heavyweight champion like Deontay Wilder, that's the type of event that people are going to be like, ooh, wow. You know, that's the type of fight. And people know who Deontay Wilder is. He's really starting to gain popularity because of a lot of his self-promotion. And people look at these YouTube videos, I'm telling you. People are starting to look at these YouTube videos. People are talking about Deontay Wilder. Radio shows have had Deontay Wilder. He's been on ESPN before. He's been on Fox. He's been interviewed before. People are really starting to take to Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua as well. He just over in the United States. So a lot of the NBA players know who he is. A lot of sports personalities. A lot of people from ESPN. Everyone knows who. I'm not gonna say everyone knows who Anthony Joshua is, but for that short period of time that he was over here recently, a lot of people were interested. So think about, you put both of these guys together. And I know you can say, well, neither of these guys have ever been on an American pay-per-view before, okay? But just think about it. Gennady Golovkin did 150,000 pay-per-view buys, okay, when he fought David Lemieux. But you took that same fighter and you put him in there with Canelo Alvarez, all right? And the fight did 1.3 million. So you sit there and say, well, okay, that was all Canelo Alvarez. All right, but you take Canelo Alvarez against Miguel Cotto, that same Canelo Alvarez against Miguel Cotto, it only did 900,000 pay-per-view buys, okay? Take that same Canelo Alvarez and you put him against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it did 1 million buys. So Gennady Golovkin did help out, bump up the numbers for that fight because of the magnitude of the fight, because it was a competitive fight. It was two fighters who most people believe it was a 50-50 fight, just like this is a 50-50 fight. So you can say whatever you want about Deontay Wilder's previous numbers, but this is the right dance partner to change all of that, to turn the corner, okay? After this fight, win, lose, or draw, unless Deontay Wilder or unless Deontay Wilder loses miserably, which I don't see is going to happen. I think this fight's going to be a war from start to finish, and I think both men are going to get some serious damage on each other. I don't think either guy is going to make the same amount that they've made prior. I think both of these guys after this fight, their profiles are going to be immensely elevated. So this is just the right thing to do. It's the the financially smart thing to do. So anyone who is assuming fiduciary responsibility for Team Joshua and you pass up on this 50 million offer, I think your business acumen has to be seriously questioned here. I really do. All right, that's all I got for now. Until next time, Beeb is out. Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, do the right thing, man. Take this fight for the sake of the sport, for the sake of yourself, Anthony Joshua, and your family. Take this fight. It's the right one.